Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast in association with Lucky Star Gin. If you're a regular listener, as usual, thank you so much. I really do genuinely appreciate it. And if you're new, you're very welcome. And hopefully you'll come back and join us again. I'm your host, Mike. And with me today, we have got Neil and Finlay. Don't forget, we love hearing from you. Join in the conversation, stay connected, like, share, retweet, thumbs up. I love the thumbs up. All the social media platforms, it's at Sutton Podcast, and all those like shares does get the podcast in front of other eyes as well, and it really helps us grow as well, and gives me an ego boost. We always need an ego boost. Finlay, thank you for joining me. I know you had other plans which got changed today, but thank you for joining me. How have you been since we last spoke?
I've been good. I'm a bit cold, but I've got a fire going, so that's keeping me nice and warm. But I'm just absolutely speechless after yesterday. But second podcast and 2 positive results to talk about. So no complaints.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm sure someone must have told you you need to be taking layers and layers and layers up to that country.
I do.
Joe found out the bad way because he didn't. He was freezing. Neil, you couldn't do last week. And then last few hours, you stepped in to do this week. How have you been?
I've been fine, thank you, Mike. I was much happier digging on my allotment after a Sutton win than I was after last time, which was a Sutton loss.
Well, and you saw I'm going to say it's outdated Back to the Future because they went back they came forward to 2015, didn't they? That was 10 years ago, so it's not really relevant anymore. But you saw the theatre show. How was that?
It was a fantastic appearance. I mean, a fantastic experience. So we had prime seats, virtually sitting in the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra, and Back to the Future, one of my favourite films. On the 40th anniversary of the date that they travel, which was the 26th of October, 1985. So they go back from that.
Yeah. Did either of you notice the question on the invite, the free invites? So if you did, I will play the amazing jingle. Don't worry, Finlay, I'll read it out now just in case. It's basically, if you could design a pre-match event or halftime for fans, what would it look like? And how do you think it would enhance the match day experience? So especially thinking it's getting a bit colder now, so some of the outside stuff might not cut it anymore. But if you could design something to encourage fans to get in early, what would it be? And we're going to do this song. Right, so Neil, what would you design if you could design a pre-match event? There is no pre-match event planned. I have no power to do anything. I'm just making content.
So I think this could take place across a season on Saturdays, which is to have teams of 3 fans, and this could be for charity, and they take 2 penalties each against the reserve goalkeeper who's down on the team for that day. And then you have a knockout competition between those teams, and then a final to take place on the last match of the season. And you could have, say, teams of 5 to allow a substitute for non-availability and all that sort of thing. So you could have knockout competition. So that would be something that might get a bit of interest, get some fans involved, and it will be a proper competition because we are a proper goalkeeper.
We haven't, because goalkeepers like David would just let mine in because they love me.
Yeah, that's assuming yours would be anywhere near the goal or have
that's true.
So there's a lot.
It'd be so slow that he'd be looking at it going, "There's no way I can let this in," fall asleep, and still save it. But yeah, great idea. Finlay, put you on the spot, but go on. What would yours be?
I'm gutted I didn't see it because the hat's been out the bag that I used ChatGPT for my commentary intro. So I would have put this question into ChatGPT. One way, because of the cold weather, a couple of laps around the pitch might warm everyone up. But on a serious note, probably similar to Neil's, you kind of see loads of teams do those kind of halftime competitions in the Premier League and the Championship. But maybe to make it a bit harder, take penalties against Jenny the giraffe.
That very much depends who's being Jenny that day. Because if Jenny's being Jenny, she'll be very competitive and not let any in.
Jenny was telling me she thought Jenny had been renamed Jimmy the giraffe after Jimmy Dack.
No, that's the new. There's a teddy bear in the club shop which doesn't look like Jenny, but it's still a giraffe. So I think they've named it Jimmy.
Right. Okay.
Some people might have got the wrong end of the stick that we're selling a Jimmy the giraffe. In the thing, I think we do have a Jimmy the giraffe one as well, because I remember on Valentine's Day there being 2, and one being Jenny and one being Jimmy. But yeah, I think it's the teddy bear in the shop that's Jimmy, not Jenny being Jimmy. I don't know. But anyway, let us know your thoughts. Give us what you think we could do as a pre-match halftime thing, just to keep people engaged, get people in early maybe as well. Club news. Thanks to Finlay for the reminder. Lucy has been nominated as Manager of the Month for a absolutely brilliant October, and she has then, well, not her, but her team has then decided to try and extend that into November because they played an extremely strong Dartford side who, for some reason, I think they tonked us last season at home. I have a feel, I can't remember, it might have been the away game, but I've got a feeling they really battered us and we were lucky to keep the score down. And we won today against 100% Dartford and won 1-0. It was a good goal, and they apparently weren't providing an awful lot of pressure until we scored. And then it was according to Sarah, a very defensive, brilliant defensive action. But we won against Dartford. So that's 200% teams gone in the last 2 weeks. And fantastic result and another impressive performance. And I can't remember how many games it is now, 7 or 8 games that they've been winning or not lost. So fantastic from them. And I hope that's more than the 90 seconds that Lucy keeps complaining I only give her. But send me the content and I'll put it in. Podcast news. I've had mixed conversations about the interview with Chris. Not the quantity, not the quantity of it. The quality of the audio. It wasn't awful when I was speaking to him. I could hear everything. I then downloaded it and couldn't hear everything. Tried to tidy up as much as possible with AI, with everything. And I've had some people say, no, it was fine. I was able to hear it. It was a bit of a struggle, but I heard it. Other people said they had to give up. And Neil just said, I could not believe this. But if Neil said you followed the transcript on YouTube, which I don't understand how the transcript can pick it up if you can't hear it. But hey ho, whatever it is. But yeah, he was really generous with his time. And thank you so much, Chris. And I will definitely get him on again. I'm absolutely sure. Also, did hospitality again yesterday with Rob. Had my questions all worked out. Lovely. It was great. In fact, I was in hospitality yesterday, and the food was absolutely gorgeous. Didn't eat the fish because I don't like fish. So Jenny had that for me, and then she wouldn't give me the beef. She was like, no, there was no deal there that I gave you the second one back. But yeah, absolutely amazing beef, and I was still taking a mouthful when Bruce said, oh, and Mike's going to interview Rob now. And I'm like, but yeah, Rob was brilliant, and the food was amazing. So if you haven't done it yet, I know some people kind of look at it and go, oh, that's really expensive. It's worth it. The food is really, really good. I'm not just saying that, and Rob hasn't given me any money to do that yet. But no, the food is amazing. Let's get on to yesterday very, very quickly. The Wealdstone match, 2-0 win, 2-0 lead, sorry. And Neil, you were there when I told someone off who said, gosh, we're playing really well defensively. We're really solid and we're doing really well. And I was like, would you ever shut up? He was like, no, give credit. And I was like, don't do that. And then we did exactly what we were worried about. So Neil, I know you were there, but if you sum that game up very, very quickly, I know it's disappointing, but how was that match for you?
Incredibly disappointing, and I couldn't see why we let in 4 goals until the thing that was picked up from Chris's post-match was that we'd gone back into our old habits of just kicking the ball away, not being brave in possession, and we just went 10 yards further back in the pitch. And when somebody who understands football explains it, and it's a little bit more obvious seeing it on the television on a highlights package more easily than you can see it live. And looking back at the highlights, you could see exactly why we let in 4 goals. Disappointing as it was, because we played so well for that first 25 minutes or so.
Absolutely, and you said it as well. Oh, he scored most of their goals down into that left-hand corner. We need to defend that, keep it tight for the first, I think you said 10 minutes, and we got to 8. But Finlay, did you get a chance to watch that back yet or not?
I did. I had quite an embarrassing moment because I was on DAZN and it looked like it was advertised to be on TV. I was all excited, thinking, brilliant, 3:00 on a Saturday, away game, I can watch it. And I was at my grandparents' house, so I quickly got on the train, ran all the way home for 3:00, and it wasn't even there. I watched the highlights. Positives to take: Jennings getting a goal in his debut, really lovely composed finish. And the 4 goals, yeah, it's frustrating being 2-0 up, but we've backed it up with 2 really positive results.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, the 3:00 kickoffs are blacked out everywhere. I get it, I understand it. It is frustrating because I'm like, there's a lot of people who won't go to other games nowadays. So I just won't go to another game because I can't watch a game as a neutral anymore. Right, so on to yesterday. Finlay, before the match, what were your expectations? What did you think the lineup? Were there any changes in the lineup that you thought it might be? But what were you kind of thinking beforehand? What were you going for?
I felt quite optimistic. I felt positive. Obviously, we played Guildford on the Wednesday. I was there, and with all due respect to Guildford, we expected to go there and win comfortably, which we did. 5-0, clean sheet. And as Chris said, to kind of build as much momentum as possible, we need to play as many games as possible. And going to Guildford, putting out a strong team and winning comfortably, all of a sudden going into the Telford game, it's not we're coming in off a 4-2 defeat. We're coming in off a 5-0 win. So definitely, like you said, it was a positive mood in the camp. Lineup wise, 6 changes after Simper getting a break midweek. Good to see him. I'm not sure about you two, but I was starstruck to see Ogbonna starting after Chris had obviously downplayed the whole Ogbonna, saying we've got such a great medical team and we don't want to rush him back. But honestly, what a player he was. The headache about Nadesan or Njuku, I was shocked to see Nadesan start, albeit I know Njuku played 90 minutes midweek. But then from Nadesan's perspective, it's probably, Chris has said, right, you know what, FA Cup first round, a big tie. Despite Njuku being the top goal scorer, you start and go and make a name for yourself. And he did just that. But yeah, positive going into the game and a strong lineup.
And Neil, what was your thoughts, expectations, and any surprises in the lineup for you?
I was confident we were going to win, but I had to put a loss on the podcast, on the prediction league, because every time I predict we win, we lose. So, that was my superstition coming to the fore. So I was prepared to take one for the team there. And it was exactly the team I expected him to play, except I didn't expect Junior to start. That was the only I thought Noah would start and not Junior.
I was surprised he's junior sort of left back. I was like, oh, okay, it's interesting. But I was more surprised that we didn't start Woody, only because if you've got someone come back from injury, if you put them on from the start and they last only 30 minutes, you've still got your sub. Whereas bringing them on at half time, if that had gone to extra time, he suddenly wouldn't have been playing 45. He could have been playing well over an hour. He probably would have been fine, and he seemed all right. But that was the only kind of thing I thought, or maybe you should. I would possibly have started him, but obviously, as I've said many times, I pay to watch football, so my opinion means boggle. But do you think, obviously, we know the money situation at the club now, do you think there was more financial pressure to win this, or do you think it was Aggie pressure to win this because of the momentum thing? And he was like, no, we are not going to lose. We're going to win this game, and the money's a bonus. Neil.
Yeah, I think I think the money is not a consideration. It's winning games, because you just need to keep on winning, because winning is contagious or infectious or whatever, just as losing is. So I think it was very important. I thought the Guildford was quite unique. I don't think that has ever happened in Dozzy's time or Matt Gray's time or Steve Morrison's time, to send out such a strong side against very weak opposition. So I thought that was it was something that could have gone terribly wrong. If they'd won 1-0 or gone to penalty or whatever, it would have been mega egg on face. But it had the desired effect. So I think from that, it's great.
I'm going to just quickly go on to that. I don't often mention the Surrey Senior Cup because I've got a 15-20 year grudge against Surrey County FA. But I think the reason we didn't necessarily put strong teams out in the past is because it doesn't count as a first team fixture. So if players are doing a suspension, for example, Surrey Senior doesn't count towards it. And Doz did put out a strong side in a few finals after we got to them. And I remember one, and funny enough, someone mentioned it on the forum earlier this week. They had the program for, I think it was 2010, they said, or 15, I can't remember now. And it was, we had reached the final, and it was against Godalming, I think. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go. And it was, it's a final, I should go. And I went, and we got absolutely pumped. And that just made me even more furious. I'm not going to one of these again, ever again. I'm not giving Surrey County any money. So if you see me at a Surrey County match, you can assume that I've somehow wangled my way in for free, because I'm not giving them any money. But it was a great performance. But Finn, what do you think? Do you think it was more Aggie pressure, or is it the cup pressure, or is it neither or both?
I think similar to Neil, the money means nothing. That's just a bonus to the club, depending on how well we do. That's just an added bonus. I think it was definitely pressure on Aggie. As Neil said, he's kind of really bigged up this momentum and needing to win games, and winning yesterday in such a big game, going into Eastleigh now on Wednesday, is almost like brilliant. We've got more momentum, more confidence. So definitely it was pressure on Aggie, and he handled it perfectly.
Yep. So first controversial, the minute silence. Now, at first glance, you look at that, and Telford fans, absolutely outrageous. It was a minute silence, and they kept on chanting and singing the way through it. I won't excuse the smoke bomb, but I will excuse why. Their team is in the FA Cup first round. I don't think they've done it for a while. I'm not 100% sure on that. But all the players were lining up with their backs to the curver, which is fine. But if you think of that view from the curver, Neil, all you would see is the players' backs. You wouldn't have seen the flags and all the rest of it going on. And the tannoy announcement over in that side is just, well, unless it's been dramatically fixed, which I don't think so, you can't hear anything. And they wouldn't have known. So they're all excited. They're getting all worked up for their team coming out and chanting. And then you could hear it slowly dawning on them off, like, hang on, why is everyone else quiet? So whilst it looks and sounds horrendous, I personally feel that it was just a mistake, and it's where they didn't realise what was going on, because it is quite far ahead of that Sunday. So they perhaps just didn't realise. Finlay, you were in the gantry. Did you feel that at the time, or were you kind of like, whoa, what are they doing? Oh, you didn't say anything, unless it got cut out.
Well, I was more worried for my life because that gantry was absolutely bouncing because the Telford fans were understandably, like you said, Mike, they haven't got to the second round since 2014. And it's only, I think, their second or third time getting to the first round. So it's a fantastic occasion for them. The smoke bombs obviously aren't great. But then as much as maybe they didn't hear the tannoy, surely seeing a massive Union Jack flag and the trumpets blowing, you surely must be able to kind of
I don't think they would have seen
anticipate.
that. From their view, I think they would have only seen the players. So from your view, you're way higher, so you'll see it. But I think from their view, Neil, we've stood there while they were doing like inductees to the Hall of Fame, and we're just like, what's the delay for kickoff? What's going on? So are you a bit generous, or am I being way too generous?
No, I'm being generous. That as La Curva devotees for many years, we know that even as Sutton fans, it's even if you want to hear what's going on, it's impossible to hear. The flags had been lowered for the last post being played, so therefore the flags were below the players. And if you see from the highlights playing back there, AJ turns round to go as much to look and say, "What the are you doing?" Looking out of disgust. And that's probably from that point of view. I suspect probably the steward sort of may have got involved in that sort of state. Yeah. And then from that point of view, as soon as they were as quiet as anything. And I suspect they were probably as embarrassed as...
I've seen a few of their comments on Twitter and I was like, yeah, massive apologies. He just didn't know what was going on. And again, there's no blame attached. It's just one of those things that, in hindsight, this could have been dealt with slightly differently, but no one's going to think, they're not going to know what's going on. So yeah, it's just one of those bizarre things.
And it was a very short silence, so that made me think that the referee was going to have trouble with timekeeping in the match.
We'll talk about the ref in a bit, but it was one of the few things he got slightly wrong, in my opinion. So first half hour, Neil, how were you feeling? I thought Telford playing quite well, but again, that might be, as a subject we'll come on to later, that might be just the Sutton fingers over my eyes pessimistic. But I thought Telford were knocking it around really, really well, and I wasn't worried per se, but they had some chances in that first half hour.
So I was standing next to Jenny, so I said, this is looking, unfortunately, a bit like Spennymoor Mark II. Because... Sorry?
How's the bruise?
She didn't hit me, which does make a change.
Okay.
Yeah. So, surprisingly, no, she managed to keep her elbows to herself. So I just, and I thought that leading up to the goal, that was the goal was so against the run of play. It was so it was so unlike Sutton for us to be sort of on the back foot, struggling to get the foot on the ball. Nobody was the passes were going awry. We weren't trying to hang on to the ball. We were sort of looking a bit desperate. Tommy had already had to make a very good save from their number 9, who that was a very good shot. Actually, again, the save looked even better on the highlights than it actually looked live. So I was not optimistic after the first 25, 30 minutes.
And Finlay, yourself, for the first sort of half hour or so?
I remember Chris saying before the game, Telford are going to be like Farnham. They're going to want to play counter-attacking football. They're dangerous with and without the ball. And the first half an hour, it was just one-way traffic. Telford were knocking it around. Every time we got the ball, we would just launch it clear. And as Neil said, their number 9, Stenson, already 4 goals in the competition. It's a fantastic shot. And the crowd almost went silent because it was one of those shots where you thought, despite Tommy saving it, it might still trickle in. But it was a fantastic save. And we weathered the storm, definitely, in that first half an hour.
Well, you get to talk about the goal. From my point of view, as I'm saying that Aggie ball, I was kind of like criticising as Jack was charging into their half. And I'm like, I know it's what he wants to do, but I'm having heart attacks here with our centre back going forward. He could lose the ball here. And then 2-3 passes later, it's in the back of the net. But how was the goal from your point of view?
Oh, it was magical. A magical build-up, a magical finish. And And as you said, my heart was pounding seeing Jack Taylor kind of playing the Harry Phipps role as he has been in the past few weeks. But lovely build-up play and Jaden Harris getting it on the left, and just a moment of brilliance from Ogbonna. And yeah, it wasn't quite the same. I was expecting another forward roll or another bicycle kick celebration, but he didn't do it this time. But no, lovely finish, and yeah, that definitely silenced the Telford fans for a minute.
Well, he did his sort of cartwheel somersault flip or whatever it was, and landed this time, which I've shown Rosie. I did tell him I will be showing Rosie, and she was like, good landing, but he should have had his arms straight at the end. I was like, he's a footballer, he's not a gymnast. But yeah, the back, I didn't realise. I knew he'd scored, but obviously I'm blind and down the other end. I did not realise until watching the highlights that how good and well he took that goal with a little back heel. But Neil, how was your view of the goal?
It looked to be a beautiful goal because it seemed to be the first time that we'd actually sort of properly pressed and tried to get the ball off them, because Ogbonna and Muller sort of between them doubled up, got the ball back, and then we played it all the way backwards. And then so it was Simper, Harris, Eccleston, Jennings, Eccles, Taylor, Harris, Eccleston, Harris, and then Ogbonna. So I wrote all the names down here. So, Junior was involved 3 times, and so was Jaden. So it was a proper team goal. It was a beautiful, beautiful goal, and really it just cut them apart. We did to them what other teams seem to have been doing, liberally to us for months.
And then the only thing of note before half time then, Neil, was I think Tommy Reid had a bit of an injury, just almost straight after we scored. So thoughts and prayers to him there. That's happened against Wealdstone as well, just after we scored as well. But half time, how are you feeling? And then shortly after, I don't know how long after, actually, it seemed quite shortly after, another beautiful goal, Neil. How do you feel about that one? The Nadas goal in front of us, I think it was.
So the Sims disease, which is obviously what Tommy Reid.
Oh, he goes down halfway through the half. He can't play more than 22 minutes.
Yeah, but it's a tactic. We're very good at conceding a goal after we score a goal, so it's obviously chance to collective it is tactical.
Why you suggest such a thing?
I think it is.
The poor man could hardly stand up.
All the physio did was pull his sock up, so which
you don't know how dangerous that sock was. Okay, so I couldn't do it himself with those gloves. Come on, let's not.
They would chat. They were exchanging phone numbers. They look as if they were setting up a date. It's essentially there was very little medical attention going on, and I could see how. So there were Sutton fans around getting peed off by it, let alone what the Telford guys felt. But so it seems to be a definite tactical injury.
Yeah, someone on the forum did say they're not keen on it, and that's for other teams to do against us and us shout at them. But Finlay, well, talk about Nada's goal. You didn't even talk. You concentrated all that time, Neil, on the goalkeeper. We'll talk about Nada's goal.
We got to the Nada's goal. Can we do that in a minute? We'll do the goalkeeper bit, then we go to the.
Do Nada's goal now, and then they can do both.
Nada's goal was a thing of beauty. So I see social media has just posted, because I had to keep watching it so many times to count the passes. And now social media have done it. It was 13 passes, and it was beautiful. Jennings involved 3 times, and again Harrison, who tends to he lollops around. He doesn't run. He lollops, but he just that the pass from Ogbonna was as it said on the floor. It was slide rule. It was an inch either side. It wouldn't have been a goal. And for once, Ashley committed and had confidence that the ball was actually going to get to him.
He really wanted it.
I think it's one of the best goals that I've seen for a long, long time. It's a proper football goal. Anybody can slash and score from 40 yards, but that's a proper goal where, that's a footballing goal. So it is. It's a thing of beauty.
the kind of pass makes you think, oh, even I could have scored that. And then you're like, actually, no, it's not be silly. There's no chance I'd be there. Finlay, talk us through the horrendous injury to Tommy and your thoughts on Nada's goal.
Well, Nada's goal, I mean, I felt like a proud father. I'm so pleased for him. I think it's his first goal since Brighton in the National League Cup. So just for him getting that goal, it will be such a relief just to be on the score sheet, that dreadful run ending. And as Neil said, the build-up play was lovely. Quite a similar goal to what we scored against West Ham. I think Noah Boutin's was 13, 14 passes. Brilliant goal. And Nadesan's normally been the one crossing it in. So for him, as Neil said, just to commit and be that number 9 and be that poacher. And as Aggie said, as soon as we get one, we need to build on that and kill the game. And even though we didn't kill it entirely, at that point, we had the second and we had breathing space. So probably the most relaxed I felt on the gantry all afternoon.
Both of those goals, you both mentioned the amount of passing, but I've got to talk about Simp's sublime pass to Brandon. Sort of 60 yards, one pass, absolutely just split them open. Brandon's running onto it and again, didn't have to break pace, got the ball, and it was like, I think not everyone agrees with him, but Glenn Hoddle said back in the day, there's no short ball or long ball, it's the right ball or the wrong ball. And it's like, if it's the right ball, you send it forward. And that was absolutely brilliant. So that gave Brandon a chance. No, hang on. Was that the one for
Kai Jennings?
Brandon? Kai Jennings had,
Yeah.
Kai. Come on, man.
Yeah.
We also had another chance for Nadas towards the end. Junior had a chance. I mean, all in all, and forgive me for this, everyone, we could have had 6, 7. Anyway,
5.
Sorry, Finlay. So, were you feeling we needed that extra goal, Finlay, or were you? No, we're comfortable at 2-1. Obviously, I'm sitting there watching this game. We need another 2 to be comfortable here. But what were you feeling, Finlay?
Well, my legs were shaking in the gantry, either from being absolutely freezing or probably just the sheer nerves. But as you said, it was chances galore, and it was great to see. You know, as soon as we scored, we just wanted more and more and more. Nadesan's first, as soon as he got his second, you could see the shift in confidence. And it was a brilliant ball by Tommy Reid, lovely touch, and then he caught. I think I said in commentary, he caught it absolutely beautifully. But it was equally a brilliant save by Josh Gracie. And Njuku, brilliant, love, as you've said, Mike, a fantastic pass from Simper. And Njuku, just the awareness to see Kai Jennings running onto it, and the cheeky flick and fantastic defending again. But no, we had chances galore, and on another day, we should have been out of sight.
Yeah, I did. I've watched it, and I obviously it's a brilliant pass to Kai, but I am kind of thinking, no, what Brandon's done here is he's realised he can't do anything with it, and that's why he's passing it to someone else. Because if he had a chance to shoot, that pass would not have happened. But Neil, what did you think of those late chances? Again, I know they had a chance, but what did you think of those late chances that we were having? Do you think we needed it at the time?
Oh, come on, this is Sutton. You and I, Mike, remember when we were 4-0 up against Walsall and we thought we weren't safe.
Time, or we need another one.
Yeah, because we scored 4 but had about 9 chances that they'd failed to convert. So now Sutton always needs another goal. We still wouldn't have been safe had we been, Nada's goal gone in added time at the end. We could let in 2 goals in a minute. We are that vulnerable. So I never feel, I'm not even sure we've won when the final whistle's gone. I'm that unconfident at the moment.
Right. Well, actually, I'm going to skip the next one I had written down because that brings me on to something that I wanted to bring up anyway. It's about how we see the game as fans and others see the game. Now, obviously, Sutton fans are going, because of the run we've been on, oh my God, that's awful. We could have done this. We were lucky to get through. Telford fans are like, oh, we were a better team and all the rest of it. But if you try and watch it back with unbiased eyes, which is really difficult to do, you can sit and go, actually, you know what? We played really well. I agree with Chris that there's times we could have played better. But actually, we didn't when you watch it back, obviously you know the score, but you watch it and think, no, we've the more likely to score here. Yes, they could have scored, but we were more likely to score, in my opinion. So, Neil, do you think that's a problem we have in general, just because of the last 2 years, that we watch it, and as I said, every time the ball goes into our half, the hands kind of go up, and I'm like, oh God, I can't watch this. Or are you just like, you're being a bit of a dramatic queen there, Mike?
We don't look at things through amber-coloured spectacles. We do always look and see the worst. Walking out round the Collingwood end as the Telford fans came out, you could hear them saying, "Oh, you can see. Oh, they were piss poor. You can see why they're bottom of the league," which I thought was very disingenuous, because that wasn't a team that is bottom of the National League performance.
Always makes me laugh when a team that's just lost describe the other team as piss poor. What does that make you? But Finlay, obviously you've come to the Sutton family more recently. Do you, especially with the job and the role you have, do you always get to watch it with absolute dispassionate, or do you get sucked into the, oh my God, what's happening?
I definitely get sucked in, because in the Farnham replay, I actually got cramp in extra time, and I was literally on the bars and I'm stretching my leg out. And I remember the social media guy saying, "Thank God we don't have a commentary cam today," because it would just be me, the microphone would be on the floor, and I'd just be like doing stretches. But no, as much as you try to be impartial, it's very difficult. But I'd say the scoreline yesterday did not reflect our performance. We were creating so many chances, and as Neil said, that performance was not from a team that was bottom of the National League. So yeah.
Yeah, I've had people a Carlisle reporter who didn't support Carlisle until he started covering them, and he said, you can't help but get attached to the team. He said it always happens when you're covering them, whether it's shortly or long time, you're going to get attached to the team, even when they're playing your own team. You're like, oh, hang on, I'm kind of torn here, but you always end up being attached. The ref, apart from the minute's silence, which was 30 seconds or so, he seemed to let a lot go, Finlay. He seemed to be quite happy for the game to be a bit physical. A couple of things he missed because of that, like I think, definite penalty on Brandon in the second half. But what did you think of the ref's performance? I mean, there wasn't anything dramatic. You're like, oh my God, he's made a howler here. There were a few yellows for who knows what. But overall, I think he let the game flow. But what was your thought on the ref?
Like you said, Mike, you kind of want, well, I always like a referee that lets the game go. You don't want this stop-start kind of pattern. I didn't agree with him booking Tommy Reid for time wasting only 40 minutes into the game. That was definitely harsh. The yellows he gave were spot on. I think there was one I think it was the first half. There was one yellow in the first half that was just absolute cynical. And then there were a few that were, I think it was Aaron. There were a few that were quite soft. So yeah, he let the game go, but there were definitely some yellows that maybe weren't quite on the money.
Okay, Neil was shaking his head quite a lot of that. So go
I
on, Neil.
disagree. The card Junior got was ridiculous, because the guy, Junior tackles the guy pushes Junior in sort of retaliation. That was the bookable offence. Junior, in getting up, the guy falls over Junior's leg because Junior slipped, and the guy falls over Junior. Junior wasn't trying to go in it. Junior was just literally getting up to take the throw in or whatever, and he books Junior. And because Chris goes to the fourth official, was ridiculous. And even the Telford management sort of said, what a stupid decision. Even they thought it was a stupid decision. And then the other thing they had done, the number of added minutes, only 2 minutes added on for added time. That was at least 4 minutes with Thomas' serious sock-induced injury. And the Telford guys had to go at the fourth official for that, and about how ridiculous. I had to agree.
Sometimes I don't think that Junior one was on the highlights, but sometimes it's worth trying to see where the ref was looking, because if he sees only out of the corner of his eye the two players and one getting up and the other one then going straight down, he's going to know, well, something happened there. yeah, you should say, well, hang on, he should be 100%. But if you're kind of just called it out the corner of your eye, you might think something more happened there. There's been times I've said that, and then you watch it back, and it's like the referee's looking dead at it, and you're like, nope, what did you see?
It's right in front of the fourth official.
They're not supposed to intervene at all. I know they do, and we've had times where they've given a penalty against us.
And the lino was very close as well, because the lino was on the got up to the halfway line, so he was looking down the line, and it was on the touch line.
It's all right if Junior picks up cards and hasn't scored a goal yet. I can keep teasing him that he's got more cards than goals. All right, so it's fine. Don't worry. His goal is coming, by the way.
He's a big guy. I wouldn't cross him, Mike. You know.
But he's a nice guy. He's going to look up. I could squash you, but I'm not going to. Right, attendance 1575, which always seems disappointing. But it is first round of a cup. It is an all pay where a lot of people on season tickets will be like, I'm not going to bother. The weather did say it was going to rain. So yeah, you can kind of go like, oh, that's a bit disappointing. We only got like 1,100 or something actually paying through the door for us. But I think in the FA Cup, I'm not going to go back and check it, but I think it does build up as you go through the rounds. But 444 Telford fans, they were absolutely brilliant. Obviously, we've said that sounds so disparaging, not big day out, but they're in the FA Cup for the furthest for a while. They're going to enjoy it, and they made an awful lot of noise. And then we very kindly put them under the terrace to make the noise even more. It's like, great, we didn't have to do that. You have to do that because it was peeing with rain because we're nice. But yeah, it did help them a little bit. But yeah, that overall, I know we beat them, but I think they played quite well. I think they knocked it about well, and I think they're 14th in the north, which seems a bit of a surprise for how well they played. But yeah, any final words on the actual game, guys? Finlay?
Well, I think on Telford, as you said, Mike, I think they were fantastic yesterday, especially when they got the goal back and it was one-way traffic. Another couple of minutes, I think they could have potentially nicked an equaliser. And yet the atmosphere was incredible. You know, the gantry was shaking. I think the cameraman said to me, I need to start shouting because they weren't hearing me on the cameras. But no, it's like you said, they only lost, I think, 1 in 5. They promoted last year. So yeah, a big day out for them. And it's a shame they're out the cup because I quite enjoyed watching them through the rounds. But obviously it's more important that Sutton got through.
Absolutely. What we need is a mic at our end. So when you're talking, it's our noise. Neil, any words on Telford or in general on the match?
I agree with Finlay. I thought they accredited themselves really well, and they looked a difficult team. They should probably be higher, but it just shows you National League North. It's a strong division. Well, both North and South are strong divisions. They're not minnow teams. So any of those that we get in when it comes to the trophy, we need to be aware of, as we know from Spennymoor last year, getting all the way to the final. It's no mean.
Yeah. So who or what kind of team would you hope for? Obviously, the draw is tomorrow, Monday, and we've got no influence over it. But what kind of team would you be looking for, Neil?
I've already put this on the forum. Do we want home tie to a non-league team because better odds of winning and getting through to one of the big boys in the third round? Or do we want the best team that's left in, which is actually Stockport, to come to us, and potentially that's the tie that TNT will pick for the telly? And I don't know which, we're going to feel gutted if we go out to a non-league team thinking, oh, we could have won that.
I want, and this is it's not OCD, but just purely nice pattern. I want a National League side because we've gone from the lower tier, the National North. If we go National League, third round we get League 2, then we'll get League 1, then we'll get a Championship. We're going all the way. Finlay, what kind of team would you like?
I think similar to Neil, it depends if you kind of want you want one of the big boys, or you kind of want to respectfully play it safe and have a better chance of getting through. There were quite a few upsets. Brackley knocked out Notts County on penalties. Carlisle knocked out Reading. Obviously, Forest Green Rovers nearly did it to Luton. I'd like a home tie for sure. But yeah, I'd probably lean more towards maybe Chelmsford, but definitely a National League or a National League North or South side.
What I don't want is Carlisle, Barrow, or Gateshead away.
Yeah, but there's no replays, so it would be a Saturday. Or oh no, that gets moved, and that would be like a Monday night or something. That would, oh my god, people would be fuming about that. Anyway, I'm sorry for putting that out there in the universe and manifesting that. We're going to look ahead to the next match. We have got Eastleigh on Wednesday, not Tuesday. How do you feel that's going to go, Finlay? I will tell you the AI and my predictions afterwards. But what do you think is going to happen against Eastleigh, and a prediction for the score? An early prediction. You can obviously change it.
I'm looking forward to it. Another night on the Gander Green Lane. And as Chris said, we're going into it with 2 wins in a row, positive result. Eastleigh did lose today 3-0 to Walsall, so you can look at it as we've got an extra couple of hours of recovery. Eastleigh, they've had a decent start to the season. I think they're 12th in the National League, but I think we're in good spirits, and I think we'll nick it 2-1.
Excellent. Neil?
I'm slightly concerned Wednesday. Partly, I thought a lot of the players looked knackered at the end, particularly Kai Jennings and Simps. They looked out on their feet because they had completely run themselves into the ground. So I hope that the players recover, because I think this high intensity, high running style could take its toll. I feel that the way we're playing, we should have the expectation to win. And it would be, we're desperate for another league win. We can't just keep on getting draws. I hope it's a win. I suspect it might end up a scoring draw. But it certainly is not going to be as a 0-0, because I don't think we're ever going to see a 0-0 again. We've had the Braintree one. That was Agatha's first game. I think no more 0-0s. It's more likely to be a 3-3 than a 0-0.
Okay, you're going to put a score, or you? Not yet. This isn't your entry, which we will come back to. Don't you worry.
I don't know what I'm going to do with, but I suspect it could probably end up being, possibly a 2-1 to us.
Okay. So AI has gone with 3-2, which is what you were saying. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and they've gone with Dave to score. And I'm going to go with 2-0 because we're going to keep a clean sheet, and I've gone with Simps to score, assuming obviously he starts. And the reason I'm saying all this and saying you guys can change it is I was subject to an unfair ad hoc rule today. Neil was the only one who backed me up. Because I didn't do a podcast last week and I was doing the Chris one, I didn't actually put my prediction out into the world, even though I entered it. And I went, oh, actually, should I count my prediction? Because I haven't put it out there. I put my prediction in early. I don't change it as the lineups are announced. And there was a quick vote, and I said, oh, only an hour, and 3-1 against me allowing to be entering my draw. I mean, I hadn't actually got many points, to be fair, but I didn't want to tell them my prediction before them deciding. But yeah, I suspect if I look at the league table, many of those people who voted no will be in and around where I am in the league. So my own league, I got an ad hoc rule voted against me, which is shameless.
But we didn't understand the question, Mike, because I actually were disallowing you. I wasn't allowing you. So you were far more generous to me. I was actually going against you.
Does my entry count? Yes or no? How can that be confusing?
No, the question was erring on a double negative, and the other guys, the other guys were actually going for you, and I was going against you. You read it the other way around.
Right. Well, it doesn't matter. I only got 1 point anyway, so I'm not going to cry about that. I am. Go on about that more than the curve, I'm going to be honest with you. Right. we are going to wrap up in a second. Just wanted to say that Frances put a little message up on the Facebook group earlier, and she is in hospital. She seems to be okay and a bit irritated that they're not letting her out yet, and they want to keep her from monitoring. So, but I have to say, what she has said is the Sutton family have really rallied around, and so many people are offering her to drop things up, talk to her. If she needs anything, let them know. And she's like, actually, my nephew's here, my brother's here. It's fine. But she said it's been so nice. People being really nice and offered support. But yeah, get very well soon, Frances. She's worried she might not make Wednesday, but she has an excuse. Okay, let's just say she is excused. But we will wrap up this episode of Sutton Podcast. As always, we appreciate everyone's ear attention and feedback. Get involved in Knowing Me, Knowing You segment. What pre-match or halftime activity would you do for fans to try and get people in? Follow, like, share this episode, give us a thumbs up, and subscribe, and leave us a review. I don't think I've had a review for ages. But as always, thank you to our sponsors, Lucky Star Gin. Thank you to today's guests, and that's Finlay and Neil, obviously. And thanks to everyone for listening. Hope you've enjoyed this podcast, and take care. We will catch up soon. Bye-bye.
United! 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 United!